Hey, back with another lick of the week, and we're still working in the Scruggs basic essential backup licks, and we've worked on licks that I consider must-know licks for the three shapes. Now I want to conclude the basic licks with one that encompasses all three chord shapes into one really cool lick. I'm going to call this the King Kahuna lick because it doesn't really have a name. But the reason I call it the King Kahuna because it actually has elements from all three chord shapes. So we're going to combine notes from the one shape, the two shape, and the three shape into one really cool lick. And when you hear this lick, if you've listened to much traditional Scruggs banjo, you'll recognize it immediately. Here's the lick. Again. So it's a lick that you hear a lot, it's really effective, and it's one of those licks that started on the offbeat. So let's break it down into its components first. Starting with the number one shape, we're going to pinch 1 and 2, and then slide. Since this is G for the example, we're going to slide from 5 to 9. And once you arrive at 9, you should already have your fingers arranged in the second shape. Now that we're in the second shape, here are the notes we're going to play out of this position. We're going to play the third string at 7, which it's already being held there by the index. Use the ring to play the 9th fret of the third, and then the second string is already being held by the middle finger, so play that note. So you have 2 notes here, 3 notes here. Now go to the bar position, but don't make a bar chord. We're just going to borrow notes from the position. Play the first string, slide up from 11 to 12 on the second, and then wind up at the 8th fret of the second string, which is a G note. And you notice I switched to my index finger so that if I wanted to play another lick after that I could, but you could go back to using the middle finger, which is the finger that you normally would use for that shape. I'll leave that up to you. But here's the lick in its entirety. Now let's play it with a metronome, set at about 70 or so beats. And again, we're going to try to start it on the off beat. 1. 1. 1. So let the first click happen on the metronome, first click of the first downbeat of the measure, and then begin the lick on the first offbeat. And it's really easy to syncopate that way. Now what if we're going to play that lick in another key? Because all of Scruggs' essential backup licks are based on the three chord shapes. This lick should be no different from the rest, which means as long as we don't change anything about it, we can play the standard version in all 12 major keys if we have enough room on the fingerboard. What do I mean by that? Well, you notice I had to travel from here from the 5th fret to the 9th, the 12th. So this lick encompasses a pretty good section of the fingerboard because I'm having to switch shapes. The distance between the three shapes is always the same on the fingerboard regardless of the key. So as long as I don't run out of space on the fingerboard, I should be able to play the lick in any key. Let's try it in C. Here's C major, 10th fret. So all I need to find on the fingerboard in order to reproduce this for C is a C with a number 1. Aha, here's a C with a number 2. And I do have enough room, there's the bar chord C. So I do have all three shapes available. I should be able to reproduce the lick. What if I wanted to play this lick in D? Okay, all I have to do is go up a couple of frets from C and voila, there's my D, number 1. Here's my number 2 shape D, and right here at the 19th fret is my bar, so that's where I'll use some notes from that position. So I should be able to play the lick in D. And I could go lower. What if I wanted to play the lick in A? Here's the number 1 shape A. number 2A, number 3A. So nothing about the lick changed. The only thing that changed was the location of the 3 chords I'm using. So F, so literally you can reproduce this lick in all keys as long as you have enough frets available. So let's try blending this lick in different locations with some of the other licks that we've talked about. And this will give you a pretty broad tapestry of ideas from which to use to play pretty solid backup. Now there are a lot of other really cool backup licks that we could talk about, but they're pretty much variations of a theme based on the licks that we've already talked about if we were talking about traditional Scruggs style. So I'm going to wrap up the licks themselves with this lick, and then in some of the following videos we're actually going to use these licks in the context of some classic traditional bluegrass tunes and see what we can do to construct some really nice backup. So for the remainder of the video I'm just going to play all of the licks that we've talked about and just kind of meld them together into some backup. I'll see you next video. Thanks.